Hayward Podworks. 100 shows, one vision.
Our sources explain it all. For more information on upcoming shows or to suggest shows, email brianhayward2026@gmail.com. And now let's get into our show. Hayward Podworks is vision, deep dives into any topic.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're taking a really targeted plunge into the mechanics of personal transformation.
Yeah. We've
got a great stack of materials, mainly from a course called Personal Transformation Mastery, and it promises, a blueprint for self-mastery.
Mm-hmm.
We're not really interested in the quick fixes, the usual cliches. We want to find the fundamental levers, biological, philosophical, that give you real control.
That's exactly right. Our mission here is pure extraction. We're looking for the core insights that connect these, ancient ideas of discipline with what we now know from modern neuroscience.
So finding the why behind it all.
Exactly. Why do we fail at motivation so often? What are the sort of surprising techniques that actually beat procrastination? And what's the ultimate strategy for facing down fear? We want high-value, actionable knowledge you can use right away.
Okay, let's unpack this. I think we should start with the most basic problem, which is focus. Why do all those generic tips like just try harder? Why do they fail so often?
Well, the course materials are very clear on this. It's because they ignore the underlying biology, the actual architecture of attention in your brain.
The attention networks.
The attention networks.
Yeah.
If you want better focus, you have to understand them.
Yeah.
And you have to stop treating the brain like it's just one single thing.
Right.
You've really got two systems competing for control. First, there's the dorsal attention network.
Okay.
Think of this as the CEO of your brain. It's your intentional, chosen focus. It's the part that decides, okay, I'm going to spend the next 2 hours on this really difficult project. It's all about conscious goals.
So the dorsal network it's the long-term mission planner.
Exactly. But the problem is that intentional focus gets hijacked constantly.
And the hijacker is the second system.
The ventral attention network. This thing it's reflexive, it's primal.
So a loud noise, your head turns, that's it, in action.
That's it. But crucially, it's also constantly scanning for anything that signals your immediate needs. Hunger, stress, being too cold, a notification on your phone.
All little distractions.
All of them. And if your physical or emotional state isn't perfect, the ventral network just keeps pulling your attention away from what the CEO, the dorsal network, wants to do.
And the really interesting part from the material is what sits between those two, the thing that dictates priority.
The master switch.
The salience network. The key isn't just managing distractions, it's about getting control of that switch.
And what's so fascinating is how the salience network decides what's important. Historically, important meant survival signals.
Danger, food, that kind of thing.
Right. So if the ventral network senses something related to basic survival, the salience network tags it as high priority, and boom, your attention is yanked away from your spreadsheet.
So the core insight for self-mastery is teaching your brain, teaching that salience network, what's truly important now, even if it seems boring.
Yes. But before we even get there, we have to deal with the easy wins, the low-hanging fruit.
Removing the obvious ventral distractions.
Completely. And the sources gave some great, really specific techniques beyond, the obvious stuff like creating a distraction-free workspace.
Yeah, I loved the hack from Matt Mullenweg, the WordPress creator, listening to music you know really well on repeat.
Through headphones.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic idea.
Why does that work better than, say, new music or just silence?
Because your brain is a pattern-recognizing machine. When the music is predictable, when it's looping and familiar, your auditory cortex it phases it out. It's like a ticking clock you stop hearing.
But because it's in your headphones.
It creates this sort of sensory blanket, a mild sensory deprivation that drowns out all the random little noises that would normally trigger that ventral network.
That is such a smart application of neuroscience. And there was another quick nugget in there. Just upgrading to a widescreen monitor can boost productivity by up to 30%.
Simple changes, huge leverage for your intentional dorsal network.
Okay, so we've optimized the environment. We've starved the ventral network of noise. Now what? How do we actually hack motivation?
Now, the goal is to align those two systems. We need to make the boring, necessary task feel so important that the salience network gives it priority over, the craving for a distraction.
And the material mentioned this one trick. It's almost like a mental cheat code-using visualization. How does that work? How does linking a boring spreadsheet to some huge future goal make it more salient?
It's because your brain can't fully tell the difference between a vividly imagined reward and an immediate one.
Really?
Yeah. If you actively visualize that spreadsheet leading to you being debt-free or wealthy or just less stressed next year, the parts of your brain for reward, they light up as if it's already happening.
Wow. So that feeling of future success makes the boring thing feel important right now.
It gives the task the priority tag it needs.
Okay, so let's shift to the dark side of this. Procrastination. The sources say it's not a moral failing. It's about a lack of discipline and energy.
And here is a really crucial biological detail. Discipline requires metabolic energy. It's a finite resource.
Willpower gets tired.
It genuinely gets fatigued later in the day. That's why we make easier, more impulsive choices as the hours go by.
That explains so much. That's why I can resist pastries at 9 a.m., but by 7 p.m., ordering a pizza feels like the only option.
Precisely. You've used up your cognitive budget for the day. But the definition of discipline in the source material helps us fight this. It's control over your emotions and actions.
Stopping the monkey mind.
Stopping the monkey mind from being a slave to how you feel in that moment. The disciplined person accepts that it just doesn't matter if they like the task. It has to be done.
He'd choose the objective and shut everything else out. But, let me ask, is that level of control really achievable in our world with all the stimulation?
It's achievable, but not passively. You have to train it. It's like a muscle. You build that control through rigorous practice, recognizing that you have a choice in every single moment.
We found some really intense examples of this incidental training in the sources. The one that stands out is intentionally taking a cold shower.
That is pure willpower training. You are forcing your body and your mind to fight these intense, immediate biological signals, the cold shock response, and just push through.
And the materials note the physical benefits are real, like immune training and testosterone.
They are. But the mental benefit of overriding that panic is the real prize.
A much simpler one is just making the bed every morning.
A tiny, repeatable win. It's about practicing consistency, even when you're stressed or rushing. It starts the day with completion.
There was also a really interesting point about self-control and high-intensity rewards, specifically the context of abstinence from things like masturbation or porn.
Right. The material highlights that when the brain gets too much reward too easily from these things,
it weakens your resolve everywhere else.
Yes. The brain's reward pathways get trained to expect immediate gratification for these base urges. It makes it harder to tolerate effort and delay gratification for, your actual work.
It's a habit of indulgence that just bleeds into everything.
That said, you don't have to become a monk. The key is the strategic use of reward.
So, external treats, a coffee, a quick scroll on your phone.
They have to become rewards for completing work, not the starting point. This way, your willpower only has to hold off for a specific, manageable amount of time.
Okay, now we have to pivot to the biggest ceiling on all of this. fear. You could have all the focus and discipline in the world, but if you're paralyzed by a major life risk, you're stuck.
And to talk about this, the source material brings in a fascinating historical extreme, the samurai code.
Right.
The samurai mastered the ultimate fear, which is death itself. Their technique was to sit and vividly imagine every possible horrific death, being impaled, decapitated, and then fully accept those as potential outcomes.
And the logic is, if you accept the absolute worst thing that can happen, what is there left to fear?
It's the ultimate psychological fear-proofing, and we see this mirrored directly in Western philosophy.
In Stoicism.
Exactly. The Stoics practiced premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. They believed blind optimism was the quickest way to misery.
So by expecting the worst, rain, accidents, whatever, you're not caught off guard. You're prepared.
And that frees you up to take calculated chances, because you've already planned for the downside.
Which is exactly what Tim Ferriss formalized into a practical tool. Fear setting. This is critical for anyone feeling paralyzed by risk aversion.
It just removes that fog of anxiety and replaces it with a concrete plan. We should just detail the process for everyone.
Okay, step 1. Identify the change or goal. Let's say quitting your job to start a business.
Step 2. Write down all your worst-case fears. Don't hold back. Partner leaves. Lose all your savings. End up broke.
Yeah, you have to name them. Don't self-edit. Writing down ending up vagrant strips it of its vague, paralyzing power.
Exactly. Step 3. Score each fear on its likelihood, 1 to 10. Step 4. Score them on their seriousness, their long-term impact, 1 to 10.
And the course notes that being judged by friends often ranks high on likelihood, but really low on seriousness. In 5 years, who cares?
Then the action phase. Step 5. For each fear, write down how you would cope, your contingency plans. If you run out of money, what do? Part-time job, move in with family.
And step 6, the key to prevention. Write down how to mitigate the risk before you start. So you bootstrap the business in your free time first, instead of quitting cold turkey.
It turns this paralyzing fear into a solvable engineering problem.
And after all that, the most powerful part hits you.
Comparing the cost of action, all those risks you just planned for, to the cost of inaction.
The cost of being 80 years old, looking back, and feeling nothing but regret and atrophy because fear kept you frozen.
That comparison is the ultimate motivator.
Okay, but jumping also requires confidence. The sources break it down into 2 types, shallow or external, and intrinsic or internal.
Shallow confidence is that immediate superficial boost. A new haircut, a makeover, bold clothes.
It sounds trivial.
It does, but the data says it starts a virtuous cycle. You look more confident, so people treat you better, and that positive feedback makes you feel more confident.
So it's a good starting mechanism. But intrinsic confidence is the bulletproof version.
That comes from deep self-knowledge, knowing your life's purpose, and just fundamentally stopping that loop of worrying about what others think.
Confidence is a biological signal.
It is. It signals high status unconsciously, and we're just drawn to people who seem self-assured.
And you train this intrinsic confidence using the assay principle.
Specific adaptations to imposed demands.
Yeah.
If you want to handle pressure, you have to subject yourself to pressure.
So force yourself to speak up in a meeting. Or, even better, go find a low-stakes situation like an amateur stand-up class and intentionally get things wrong.
You desensitize yourself to judgment. That training inoculates you against the fear of failure when the stakes are high.
Okay, before we wrap up, we have to touch on health. The material is so emphatic about this. It is the source of all your power.
And the key mind shift is that food isn't just fuel. It's a material, a resource. It's what your brain and body are literally built from.
And the nutrient deficiencies are genuinely alarming. The research notes something like 80% of the U.S. is deficient in magnesium,
which is critical for sleep, testosterone, brain plasticity. It's huge.
and vitamin D deficiency too, linked to low mood, poor sleep.
Fixing these small biological components, getting sun, supplementing can make applying discipline so much easier because you just feel better. You have more energy.
In terms of fitness, the sources push the Kaizen philosophy. Small, incremental changes.
And there's a specific, powerful benefit of regular cardio, like running. It strengthens the left ventricle of the heart.
Which lowers your resting heart rate.
And reduces your sympathetic tone. That's your fight or flight response. You are literally, biologically wired to feel less stressed.
And that consistency builds strong habits. The neuroscience here is fascinating.
Repeated actions myelinate neuronal pathways. Myelin is like rubber insulation on a wire. The thicker it gets, the faster and more automatic the signal becomes.
It requires zero conscious effort, like a pianist who can still play even if their conscious memory is damaged.
To build those habits, the materials give two methods. The 30-day rule, which is arbitrary, but it works as a target.
And micro habits. Breaking the action down into something ridiculously easy.
Floss one tooth. Write one line of code. Just do something to keep the routine alive. The momentum from that tiny act often carries you into doing the whole thing.
Which brings us to the highest level of all this, meaning.
Right. Maslow's hierarchy places self-actualization growth, fulfilling your potential, at the very top. Above love, above belonging. You can't outsource your meaning.
And this connects to the great stories we tell, like the hero's journey. The most important part is the apotheosis.
The transformation and resurrection of the hero. The meaning of the journey is the individual's growth from overcoming the challenge.
And the brain supports this. It thrives on challenge. It produces BDNF, which improves plasticity, mood, memory.
The sources are clear. The body is always in motion. You're either moving forward intentionally or you're passively moving backward.
This has been a true deep dive. We've uncovered some essential levers for you. Gaining mental control with the salience network, the power of incidental discipline training, and getting clarity through fear setting.
And we'll leave you with a final concept that just summarizes this whole thing. The evolutionary shadow.
Okay.
Evolution stops actively optimizing for our survival past the age of, say, 30 or 35, after reproduction.
So what happens then?
If you stop challenging yourself, if you stop learning, if you just indulge in comfort and easy pleasure, you are fulfilling that evolutionary shadow. You are biologically programmed to seek comfort and then decay.
So the ultimate message from these sources is that the choice is always yours. To stop that decay, you have to continually become the hero of your own journey.
You have to keep striving, learning, and conquering new mountains, both mental and physical.
Apply the science of self-mastery today.
Hayward Podworks. 100 shows, one vision.
All right, this is Hayward Podworks, and that's today's episode. If this helped you, do me a favor, hit follow, leave a quick rating, and share it with one person who'd get value. Want the extras, links, and new drops? Check the show notes. Until next time, stay sharp, stay consistent, and keep building. Hayward Podworks. We'll talk soon.